Hey, how's it going? I know we haven't done reaction videos in a while. Part of that's because I've been rather busy with doing other stuff, but we're gonna try and get these together. Okay, today's reaction video was inspired by Elliot Ware, who is the demographics editor, and looking at areas in where we're aiming for in our podcasts or videos, etc. Anyway, he chose these out, and I think it's great because this is going to inspire you. Hopefully, this will inspire you as an up and coming artist to look at the different styles. Inspire. Don't corner yourself in a box where you go, "Ah, that's what I want to paint like. This is what you are at the point right now. If you've been following all the tutorials, is to just explore. Let yourself go, and your style will start to develop. Now, in some cases, you may not like your style, but then think of it this way: if it's a style that is tapping in, or as the old saying would go, is on the pulse of what society likes, run with it. It doesn't mean that you're not a good artist. I think most artists have that. This is what I expected, but outside, people just love what you have. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. Um, you're 11 months into a drawing. Now, when you're looking at this, I'm willing to bet what you think this is isn't what you think it is. When I saw this, I thought it was burlap. Let's take a look and see what this is like. Here we go. First one. And as you can see, where the person's working, and it looks like colored pencil, and they're going to pull back, and voila, a face. Photorealism. You probably didn't even think about that, but did you see how close up that was, and the effort and all that work going into this? Again, I've also said there is a need for photorealism out there, and people like that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is kind of fun too because the Flemish artists there's a Flemish artist known as the Mini Masters, and they worked on small canvases, making them look very, very intricate, very, very detailed. This here kind of is a cross between that and almost like an arts and crafts, and at the same time something that is fun to do. And they're using oil pastels, which is a creamier type of pastel, as opposed to what you call the oh my god, my mind went blank. The soft pastel, which is like the chalk. But we don't call it chalk, but it's you can actually grind it, and we'll go into that. But this here, you have to use turpenoid in order to smooth that out. But it gets buttery. It gets kind of messy. But look how fun this is. There's room for this arts and crafts style. A lot of fun, and I like it. Simple, neat. You can read it as flowers. Probably look like pansies, but it's something simple, and it's great. All right, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, I like it. All right, here we go. Next one. This one here deals with being free. Look how fluid the stroke marks are, and there's no hesitation at all with this artist. They're just going for it. Now, the only thing that I would say here is, if you're going to do silhouettes like these trees, neutralize your colors and try to get those colors to be neutralized, so that you allow those colors to you have a really dark green, almost a black, you have a dark brown, almost a black, and you start using those because when the person first looks at the image, they kind of look at it and say, wow, I can see the silhouette, but as they get closer, they go, oh, wait a minute, I can see the greens, I can see the browns, I can see the reds, I can see the landscape on that. We'll get into color theory about that. Okay, this next one here is using numbers for younger kids to create an image. Now, you have an 8, a 7, a 2, a K, a C, and then a final S to create this mouse. This is the teacher's version using a marker, and this is the child's version. Look at that. This is great, especially for young kids, to inspire them to have fun and you can gradually start working into the seriousness or the importance of the arts. But here, it should be a fun stage to develop their confidence, and that's what arts do, be it performance, musical, theatrical, um, visual arts. That's what the arts does. It creates confidence, and something as simple as drawing a mouse with numbers and letters can be great. All right, let's move on. All right, this is using markers. What they're also using, because markers are using an alcohol base, that's the vehicle that makes the color work. You're going to probably use an acetone or an alcohol base cleaner that will blend these colors together. Now, again, we go back to what I was talking about. I'm going to show you real quick here how they just look at how those colors just blend. They almost bleed like watercolor, which can be fun. You have to be loose and let yourself be free. Now the artist is going to come back. I want to watch this. See how it just blends out? That's the thing you just have to let yourself go with. Now they're using a brush. Now again, we go back to just using black. Um, I would definitely say, like I said, neutralize your colors. The other thing that they're doing here is they're using just a straight white for the moon. Add some pigment to it because there's no such thing as straight black, straight white, excuse me, or straight black. Use those for only the darkest shadows and the whitest whites in your sparkles and your highlights. Because think about this, if that moon is completely white, how are you going to add highlights to that? You can't. But if you add a little bit of pigment, be it yellow, be it blue, neutralize it, becoming adding a little bit of black to it, but mix your black, just a tint. When you start adding highlights, it pops. It looks really, really good. Okay, let's move on. And you can see how they've used certain areas to create a highlight. That would have been great to use either a light green. When you mix your greens, always use yellow first. They could have enhanced that with some of the trim around the tree. We're going to get into that when we get into color theory and show you how to do something to make it look even more appealing to the viewer. All right, let's move on. Cute little piece. This is really, really great. This is your first step into working in digital art. Digital art, there's always a controversy about it because it's like it asks the question, how do you know what the real art was? Because it's in the computer, you're working with light. Let's take a look at this and show how it's done. Now, what's great about working with digital art is you can do layers, like one layer for the drawing, one layer for the ink drawing, one layer for the color, and not have to blend those colors. I believe they're using either a watercolor type tool on this, but look how effortless this looks. It is just wonderful, and it's almost got like a graphic comic book look to it. Like, not photorealistic, but look how the lights and shadows dance and bounce off this face here. And utilizing this style, you're creating, it doesn't have to be photorealistic, but look at this here. I've used this line before to saying that if you had a girlfriend, a wife, a daughter, this would be something you would love to have hanging in your living room. Imagine a portrait of all your children or a portrait of your wife looking like this in this style. I mean, that's just, I have to pause on this for a moment because it looks absolutely stunning. You can see how shiny her hair is. You can see how the sparkle in her eye. And again, using straight white just to pick up the sparkle really, really renders this, it makes it look wonderful. All right, let's move on to the next one. I believe the next one, yes, this one here is a little more difficult. You're going to see how this fades into focus. Please don't ask me if I can do this, and I'm going to tell you right now, I most likely can't. If I study and work on it, I probably could. This isn't my style, but I admire this. Now, this person really knows the canon of their face, and they really know their work. Yeah, look how this is all fading into focus. It is absolutely incredible how they just render this, and they really know their skill in digital art. Keep in mind also that these are block pieces. In other words, are edited so that you're seeing one part that he works on, and then it skips. You miss a whole section of how they went from one place to another, and then they start the next one. So this is only a demonstration, so it's difficult to work with. But the style and technique is absolutely gorgeous. Now look how he renders the hair. When we get to that, but see these highlights and how they're bringing them up. The hairs I was talking about is that immediately the first thing people start to do is they start making these lines. Hair is a volume. It's got weight. It's got mass to it, and you can see how he's rendered this. Look at that. I'm going to pause it there for a second here, and you can see how he has created that sense of weight in that hair, and you can see the auburns and the goldenrod colors and how they work, and then he'll add lines to highlight that. You can see just above her ear that auburn color, and then behind her ear you can see that glow behind her, and yet you can feel that hair falling behind her ear and then falling in, falling down over her shoulder. I know I didn't talk much about the highlights on her face, but look how this was rendered. You see now they're putting in the lines, but look at that rendering of the highlights just on her forehead, above her eye, below her eye, above the cheekbone, the lip, and underneath the nose. All these softened highlights, and then he hits just a sparkle of white. Look at that, boom, just a touch on the nose, the mouth. You don't want to add too much because then it'll start to act like it's just really glossy. Okay, I think it froze up, honey. There we go. There. Ah! It kind of froze. But look at that rendering. That looks wonderful. Okay. All right, this is a graphic rendering. It's kind of a cross between animation and graphics. It could be on a, it could very well be on a potter's wheel, but it could be on just a wheel in itself. But what looks really simple isn't as simple as it looks. Look how he makes that circle. I mean, you couldn't even see how fast he moved that to make that circle on the side. And now he's coming in to create these branches out to create that image that looks like it's spinning and unfolding. Now he starts taking his eraser and boom, disappears just like that. Question is, like, why would he do something like that? Well, some of the Native American Indians who work on sand drawings, immediately after they're done, they will either walk on it, destroy it, and their philosophy is basically nothing lasts forever, including art. If you look at some of Leonardo's works, he did 1,000 paintings, 1,000 works of art, and only 17 are survived today. You think that if Leonardo was the only artist during the Renaissance period, you're sorely mistaken. There were other artists, but we didn't know about them, and their works are gone forever. Just think of all the art throughout the history that we have missed out on because they've either deteriorated, they were lost, they got destroyed by fire, by natural disaster, stolen, robbed, destroyed, everything. So literally, like I even said, a lot of my work that I have today, about 100 years, it may be all gone. Like Professor Who? That's so. That's what's really when you're able to liberate yourself by not hanging on to something so tight. You're able to move on even further in the arts and just go, well, it's gonna last forever. There you go. All right, here we go. This here is now a stylized eye, and when we were talking about eyes, you can see that it's a comic graphic, but you can still see the glow in that eye. Look how simple that is. Looks great though. Now this one I really love because this is something that's very simple. Now, the only thing that I would say is that the artist is chicken scratching right there. And don't chicken scratch. Make a line and be decisive about it. But look how fun this is. This person is just having fun. Huh? See? And that's what art's about. And especially at the age you're at right now. Okay. Working a year on this, 11 months. Now we can already tell who this is. But look at the mass detail it took to make this look photorealistic. You all know how I am a proponent about this. Do I have the patience to do this for this long? Most likely not. But the skill set that it takes, the next question is, why go through all this when you can take a photograph of it? But at the same time, hey, more power to you if you're able to, because there are people who are going to want this kind of work out there. And no matter what professor's saying, oh, well, you can just do a photograph of it, there are people who like this kind of stuff, who want something that looks photorealistic. Don't fight it. Encourage people to do that. And if this is where you want to go, it's going to take a while to get there, but you can get there. But in the meantime, develop your style to what may lead you up to this. Okay. Now, this next one goes completely opposite. What looks simple isn't. My wife does not like this because she just sees it and says, this is a mess that has to be picked up. There she is waving behind me. Yeah, see how she's nodding up and down? She agrees. But you can see these strokes are deliberate. Now, I want to see if you can guess what this is right now. I can already see this. Don't want to give it too much away, but here we go. Notice that each one of these strokes the artist is not pausing at all. You can see that face. The eye is closed, the nose, and you can see the mouth there just below the nose. And this is charcoal. We haven't worked on charcoal. I will probably bring that in the last episode of the season and just a rough demonstration of it, because at that point we'll be talking about style, technique, and how to use the different dry tools. It'll be the last one that we do before we break, and then going into the wet medias or color theory first. We'll talk about color theory, and we're going to break that down. That's going to be maybe not a full season, but we're going to get into that. And color theory is something that's really heavy to work with. Anyway, I'm straying off. Look what this artist does next. Just when you think he's done, this artist isn't done. Watch. And in order to be a successful charcoal artist, you've got to be deliberate with your lines and no chicken scratching. And be prepared to be messy. Look at that. Just rubbing their hand on everything here. It's like, what in the world? Now watch what they do. They take their kneaded eraser, and look how black that kneaded eraser is. Huh? They're using that just to lift areas to create highlights. Boom. Look at that face. And boom, there you have it. What looks simple and maybe easy really isn't. Okay, that is going to conclude what we have here. And that's going into another video, which is Rob's language. I'm actually going to be talking about him later on, about how he talks about color in the English language, and he actually, I think you'll be surprised about that. And this is also a good blend of how English in our language and arts work together. Well, that's going to be something that you're going to see, and we'll talk about. I might even do a reaction video to that. But I love how he explained how colors came up with their names. Okay, that's going to be it for us on this reaction video. Remember, like, share, subscribe. We've hit 100. We're at 103 subscribers. We want to see if we can get up a little, get that number up. We want to continue moving on there. We're going to have more reaction videos. I'm still trying to shoot for Thursday at 3 for our tutorials, and then on Tuesday we're trying to line up all our reaction videos. We've been busy with sets. We don't have any more until September, so we're just putting a lot of time into this here, and hopefully we'll have more fun stuff for you to do. And again, I'm hoping this helps you to inspire you to to draw more and to develop your skills. Don't compare your work to others. Make it your own and start developing that skill. Okay, may the Lord be with you always, and we will see you either Thursday or next Tuesday. Bye. It's going again.